So we're going to hear from the four projects or four of the projects that we've sponsored this year. Each of these projects has had £1,000 or less, which to a lot of people will feel like a really small amount of money. But I think what's really important for us is that we see and hear from them one by one and just how a little bit of money can actually make such a difference at grassroots level. And that's what we're really keen to do rather than kind of compete with the big charities who want to see that very local impact. So we're going to start off with the Penley Family Project, and we've got Kim and Terry, who are directors and founders of the project. It's a multi-generational project, and they are committed to early years work and the importance of listening and learning from people who've used their services to enable them to continue to evolve their project. So I know things haven't gone quite as they thought they might, but it'll be really good for you to hear their story. Over to you.
Hi there, I'm Kim Parker and this is Terry, and we're both directors and founder members of the Penley Family Project. Can we say that the Penley Family Project is actually a multi-generational project, but we sort of have two areas that we really work with, and that is actually with mothers, babies and parents, and also multi-generationally with an older group, which is what Terry sort of delivers as well.
And just to inject there, just to say really, primarily, I would say it's women.
Yes,
yes. It is, whether it's with the parents or whether it's with the older age group, it's primarily with women.
So what we started off with basically was delivering baby massage classes. And from that has grown to groups called the fourth trimester, which is the first 12 weeks after a baby's been born, to a baby haven group, which is a sort of a holding space again for mums and their babies. And what mums were asking for was some sort of exercise class that they could do with their babies. So this is what we put out there. It was a group of mums that wanted to do it. They're the ones that drove it all, really. And we were able to get a really good instructor in there. And the babies were looked after by two of our baby practitioners. And that's the funding that we asked for from the Women's Fund to continue with this. It hasn't quite gone to plan because the mums change regularly, and the last group of mums actually were asking for something a bit more like yoga or going outside a bit more. So this is what we're looking at doing now for the future.
Yeah, so they come up with the ideas, and I think that's the very essence of our project, really, is that we adapt, whether it's with the younger or the older. We always sort of shape the project in response to what our group want us to do. That makes it quite a challenge sometimes and quite difficult because, if you're very prescriptive, that can sort of work and you're more in control, but being able to be flexible and change things is very important to us, really, in all the work we do. We work in the CPR area based at Heartlands, and I think the aspiration for Kim and I, because we work in quite an area of high need, is that those families and the older people too, whoever comes to us, we want them to have the very best, and we want them to aspire for them and their babies. So that's sort of a key driver for us, isn't it, Kim? So we wanted, like when we talked about the baby massage, we wanted that to be available and affordable in the Camborne Pool and Redruth area. And as Kim said, then came Baby Haven, the fourth trimester. We're also starting an antenatal group, again, in response to what the women have asked for, and then the project that we're doing through your funding too. So it's a very rich, when you bring it all together, it's a very, very rich service to our local community in an area of such need, really. And just one of the other lovely things, because we're both we're women ourselves, older women, we're very passionate about women and supporting women. And although I said earlier, it's primarily women, that's not the intention, because men could come to the groups, and we do occasionally have men come, but it's really interesting that primarily it's women that have engaged with us, and it's women that are driving it with us. And what I love about the older group, which I sort of run on a Friday, is they make things in that group that they gift to the younger women, because they're older women who've been parents maybe and have come through life. And it's such a lovely thing when they make something that they then gift to the younger women. So we do try and bring those generations together where we can as well. So I hope that's given you a flavour of we think it's quite a beautiful project. It's hard work, that thing about adapting and changing is quite hard on Kim and I sometimes, but we do it because that's the right thing to do. And I think that's why we get such good engagement, because our engagement is very high.
Mhm.
So thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. That sounds fabulous. One thing I didn't say is if people want to put any questions they have for any of the projects into the chat, and Isabel will pick them up and ask, you know,
Yeah. Shall I? I mean, thank you, Kim and Terry. I mean, it's really good to have you join us and for us to hear a little bit about the work that you've been doing, and also for us to understand how the money is helping, really. And looking at the two of you, I'm just wondering, where are you getting your support, and how big a support mechanism have you got in terms of the work that you're doing? So who's taking care of you?
It's hard. I mean, Kim and I take care of each other. We have actually, because some of our funding, our primary funding comes from the lottery, and it took us a little while to do this, but we did invest a little bit of our capital in having a mentor, and that's been really, really helpful to us because she's helped us just step back and actually think about that, Isabel. You know, who's looking after you, and what are you doing to make sure that you're not pushing yourself too much and your own mental well-being and welfare is being compromised. But she's also helped us to be like a bit more of a critical thinking about the project and just how we do things. And so that's been a good investment. And we will continue with that, for as long as we can afford to, because that, Isabel, is very important when you're doing project work.
Absolutely.
I went to a network meeting on Tuesday, and I said to Kim wasn't able to be there, but when I came back, I was saying there's such a lot of rich work going on in the community, and actually people work incredibly hard in community projects, and give a lot of their own time as well as maybe paid time. You know, we go over and above, really, which is okay, but it is something that you need to be careful about as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just checking the chat, and we've got a question from Katie, just asking how you link, or if you do link, with the Royal Cornwall Hospital's midwifery service at all in what you're doing. So have you formed some connections with them?
We have actually, because we've actually got some funding from them for our fourth trimester group, which again is those first 12 weeks. And we do work with the local midwives, explain to them what we're doing, especially as we're starting the antenatal works very, very, very soon. So yes, we do work with them quite closely, get them to know what we're doing anyway, so they can sort of pass on any information to any of their mums that they're working with.
But also the NHS, the other stream of funding from the NHS, they were so interested in the work that Kim primarily leads on, is they did a short film. They made a film. So the NHS have made a film about the work, which I think they're going to show to their chief execs and the NHS funders but also just to sort of get out there what communities are doing to support mothers and babies.
Well, so I have to declare an interest, Terry, that because I sit on the hospital board. So I will be looking out for that film. With pleasure, we'll be seeing that. We normally at each of our board meetings have a board story, so we try and encourage stories coming from all our services to come in and talk to us. So that will be really exciting to see that film. And I'm also picking up in the chat, because we've got just a couple of minutes, from Claire, who's saying, wow, it sounds like an amazing project and love the intergenerational work, which I agree with. I think it's fantastic. And an offer of support to be able to signpost you to other practitioners. So, I don't know if you've got access to the chat, but this has come from Claire. So there's an offer of extending your reach, perhaps, if you can make contact with Claire.
How do we do that? Will Claire send us a contact, or is that through you?
Do you want me to say hi?
Claire, please. Yes, thank you.
Claire. Hi, Claire.
Hello. Thank you so much. Your project sounds amazing. It's really inspiring to hear you both speak. Can tell how passionate you are. I'll drop my my email address in the group chat if you can see the group chat. But I run Badger Forest School and Choose Nature CIC. So that was like the offer of support in terms of the outdoor stuff if you were wanting to maybe connect up, because we've got quite a lot of contacts and various different practitioners down maybe closer to where you are. So it might be that I can link you up with those people to do some of the outdoor stuff that your women are asking for.
Thank you.
lovely,
Thank you very
you.
much, Claire.
Yeah,
This is what
very
these
nice.
evenings are about, you see.
Right.
We were saying before we started that last year when we did this, it was incredible the number of connections that were made just from hearing each other's stories. So, we've already started on a good footing, haven't we? And thank you, Claire, for that offer to connect with Kim and Terry. I'm sure that's going to be really helpful. I'm going to move us on in a minute, but Amanda's just popped in the chat just saying, would you be happy for us to share a clip of the film that's been produced on our website? Whose film is it? Is it the,
Well, I
is it
think
the
it's
NHS?
the NHS. It's the NHS.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Amanda, were you asking me then?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't, but maybe I should. But I mean, if it's not possible to do that, then maybe it'd be really nice if we could come and see you perhaps and do a little film on an iPhone or something and put it on the website. That would be really nice to get some feedback from perhaps some of the women when the project starts. That'd be lovely if you're happy for us to do that, obviously by arrangement with yourselves.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Good. You're on our radar then in that case. Thank you. Thank you both very much. And thank you for taking time this evening to come and share what you're doing with us. And it's really heartening to hear that we're making some difference for you. So yeah, that's great. Claire's popped her email contact details into chat. So, but we'll make sure that you're connected up. So thank you. I'm going to come back to Jackie to move us on to hear from another project, please.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, Kim and Terry. So we're going to move now on to Wild Young Parents, and we've got Amy here ready to talk to us. She's the infant parent lead at Wild, which again is another voluntary organisation that supports babies and children of young parent families. So over to you, Amy.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I've got a little, just a little Canva to share. Is that okay? Just because I work better with a little bit of prompting. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen, but I'm not a Zoom user. I tend to use Teams. So excuse me if I take a bit of time.
If you need any help, just ask, Amy.
If someone can just let me know when they can see my screen, that would be fab.
Yeah, there it is. If
can
you want
see,
to put it
perfect.
onto, it's the whole screen. So if you want to, that's it. Perfect.
Lovely. Okay, so as Jackie said, I'm the infant parent lead at Wild. So Wild is a voluntary sector organisation that supports young parent families. Our vision as an organisation is that we want a fair start for the babies of young parents, because unfortunately the babies of young parents don't have the same kind of start and chances in life as perhaps some of our older parents. So this is just a little bit about who we are. So we work with the whole family, we work with babies and children, we work with mums, dads, we work with pregnant and expectant parents, we work with step parents, we work with aunties, uncles. So we really focus on the child in the centre and then work with all of the adults that are in that child's life to really help support kind of a nurturing environment for their children. We work with families where one parent is up to the age of 24. And we tend to work with babies and children in the early years. So usually up to 4, but we tend to really, by 2, we tend to not see them as much because a lot go to like settings and so obviously I touched on it before, but these are just some quite stark statistics around some of the data around the babies and children from young parents. So babies in young parent families are more likely to be included in kind of serious case reviews through non-accidental death or shaken baby syndrome. They're more likely to be born premature. They have a higher rate of infant mortality. They are 4 times as likely to have a parent with poor mental health. And 40% of our world babies have been exposed to domestic abuse. They at 11 months have a language delay of around 11 months at 5, and that trajectory tends to kind of carry on as they get older, because our earliest years are kind of most pertinent for our development. and 63 more likely to live in long-term poverty, which again has big implications for their outcomes across their lifetime. So we do work with young mums and young dads, but the money that we had from very kindly from the Commonwealth Women's Fund, we focused on our young mums in the perinatal period. So we focused antenatally. And we did that because young mums have a 3 times more likely to experience perimental ill health. They are twice as likely to experience sexual abuse, 40% more likely to 2 in 3 young mums experience relationship breakdown, more likely to depend on benefits, etc. So during our welcome work, when we have a family referred to us, we do routine inquiry. So we chat to families about kind of where they are. And this might not come out in the first time when we meet them. But these are just some of the statistics of the families that come through WARD. So you can see that 70% of the families that come through WARD experience poor mental health, which is a significant amount of parents. And we know that a baby's first 1,001 days from conception to just under 2 are the most important time period in their life for development. And we know through research and through all of the significant kind of understanding around brain development in the last probably 30 years, that the thing we can do that we can support families the best with is their infant-parent relationship, because babies don't grow up singularly, they grow up within the infant-parent relationship, and their healthy development is really reliant on a safe, consistent, responsive caregiver that can attune to their needs. But if you're experiencing all those things I just spoke about before, that can be really tricky. So young parents have a want and they want to be great parents, but some just need support to build those skills and capacity. And that's really where WILD comes in. We want to support families to build that and to stop that kind of repeat intergenerational patterns that we see frequently throughout WILD. So we decided that we would like to target families within the perinatal period, specifically the last trimester. We have been working for a while to develop an antenatal offer. We actually call that our parent to be offer, because lots of our parents aren't familiar or kind of will pull back from anything they feel is quite statutory in its language. So antenatal. So we try to really simplify it and kind of call it a parent to be. And we have quite a successful mums peer group for our pregnant mums, which is great. It's an online group and they really support each other and they can get advice and from the WILD team who kind of oversee it. But we really wanted to get them through the door, because we know that the earliest we can start supporting families, the better the outcomes are going to be for their babies. So we were like, right, what can we do? And we tried a few things. And then I met Amanda at an event and she said, oh, the Commonwealth Women's Fund has this fund. So, and we'd been at a creative event and I was like, oh, well, maybe we can link these two things and we can do something creative and we can try and, link up with our parents. So we decided to create some parent to be workshops, and we targeted the mums that we knew from our routine inquiry had risk indicators of having poor mental health and had other social factors that showed us that they were vulnerable. And we created a workshop where they could make a baby box. I'm just going to show you some pictures. So they could come and make a baby box that they could take home. We invited the mum, but we also invited them to bring along a significant other. So we had some nans, we had a couple of partners, we had some grandparents come along with the young mums and spend some time. And at first the workshops were quite quiet. And as they got kind of engrossed in making their baby boxes, began to kind of open up a little bit. We had lots of great discussions around wondering who their baby might be, wondering what life might look like for their baby, and just talking about their dreams really for what they wanted for their baby, as well as offering cake and drink and a chance to kind of bond with the WILD team before baby comes. We also were really lucky that one of the team knows a photographer who offered to come and do some bump photo shoots during that time. So she did a load of photos for us, and we're going to share those with the parents in our second workshop. So we also, with the funding, managed to pull together some goodie bags to give to our parents. Again, we kind of designed these with infant bonding and attachment in mind. So they included a baby sling, and we gave out some safety advice around carrying your baby, and did some demos, a sensory scarf, the kind of sensory play, and we talked through that, baby massage oil. And we really wanted our young mums to feel like they and their baby really matter, and we really care about them, and they deserve to have a really great start to their pregnancy, and it's something to be celebrated, because sometimes in some of the other places they can be, it might not feel like their pregnancy is being celebrated. So this is just some kind of bits. We were only halfway through, so we were doing 2 workshops, one to do the baby box, and then in the new year our second workshop's happening, and we're hoping we're going to meet some wild babies and share the photographs and continue to build on that networking. But just from that kind of initial workshop, which for most of the families we reached out, that was kind of their first meaningful engagement. We've been able to build meaningful engagement with 8 new families. So we've supported one family with literacy support needs, so they couldn't read. So we've linked them up with someone to support them with that. We've linked with other services that are supporting, so maybe social care or housing. We've actually been able to support 2 mums with advocacy for appropriate housing. One who was living in a temporary accommodation housed by the council, which was a caravan, and for heating she was using the oven to keep warm, and she's in the last trimester of her pregnancy, is a very young mum, care leaver. So yeah, we've managed to provide a little bit of advocacy and support for her. 3 of our mums have actually already joined our weekly mum and baby group, which is fabulous, because we don't tend to get them through until they've had the baby, because they feel a little bit awkward. But I think meeting the team in the antenatal period really helped. And 2 of our families have reached out to Wild for us for support with a food voucher, which is fabulous. Sorry, I've nearly finished. So workshop 2 is in January, and we are excited to meet some of our new wild babies. But we send a big thank you to you guys for your support with this project, because we hope that it's something that we can continue to roll out, and creative way to kind of get people to get engaged sooner. And that's me.
Amy, thank you. Fabulous presentation, and really, really grateful thanks for all the amazing work that you're doing. And I'm, really excited to hear that, our support has been able to put you in a position of being able to both be creative about doing the workshops, but also recognizing that you're only halfway through. You've got the second one to come, so there'll be more excitement to come, I'm sure. I'm really open to anybody wanting to ask anything of Amy, but I did want to make the point also about, I love the way that you are paying attention to the language used, because there is so much clinical language applied, and for young mums that must be terrifying, when we start talking about antenatal and perinatal and all those things that don't actually mean very much if you're a young mum. So well done for that, if nothing else. But yeah, would anybody else like to ask anything? I'm not seeing anything in the chat because you've been so thorough. There may be questions that people will just stick your hand up or shout out if you'd like to ask Amy anything at all. Claire, you've got your hand up. Excellent, well done.
Sorry, me again.
Hello.
Amy, your project sounds amazing as well. Well done. Where are you based?
So we actually cover the whole of Cornwall. We have groups in the west, the mid, and the east. But yeah, right across Cornwall.
Yeah, fabulous. I have heard of the project, so it's really nice to put a face to a name. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to ask that question actually, because I wasn't entirely sure whether you were covering county-wide or not. And it's great because we sometimes get a little bit tunnel vision around some of our projects that might be in a particular area. So we're keen to look at where the need is and respond to that in terms of the way that we fund. I'm looking at our other members here to see who else might like to say something or offer anything to Amy. I just want to encourage you to keep going, really. That you're doing fantastic work, which is clearly having some impact. So our little contribution, whilst it's important, is not the end of the world in terms of the work that you're doing. So I'm sure we will find ways to continue to support you going forward. But anybody else would like to? Oh, Catherine, yes, please.
Hi. Well, I was just going to ask how you connected, how the connection first started between you and the young mums, and presumably you touch lives of quite a few, but sort of how many more do you think that are out there that could benefit from your brilliant service?
So we have a booking pathway. So we have a midwifery pathway. So at the 12-week booking an appointment, if the midwife comes across a young mum, they're automatically referred to our service with consent, obviously. So, and that's for the whole family to add as well. We have lots of self-referrals. We have referrals from health visitors, social care. Last year we worked with, I think, around 400 families. So we work with a lot of families, and we've been going for 30 years, so a long time. And we used to be really focused. So it started as a mum's youth group, and it was a real focus on education and supporting education. And we had a creche for the children, which was great, but we've evolved over those years, obviously, and learned from our parents and from our children. And we now know how important like the children are as well as the parent, because we want to not just change the story for our parents, we want to change it, we want to support to change the story for the future. So we will continue to kind of grow and develop, but we are much more focused on the needs of the baby now. So we go in through the baby and we understand the baby as a person in their own right. And what we're doing now is safeguarding really for the future. So the future kind of that, you know, they are our future, aren't they, children? So so the focus now is on who's in that baby's life and who's going to support those families that are, you know, doing a really hard job. It's parenting is hard, isn't it, at the best of times?
Thanks, Catherine, for that, and thank you again, Amy.
Thank you.
I think we probably are ready to move on to our next point. Oh, sorry, Amanda, did you have your hand up? You're on mute.
Rookie error, sorry. Just really quickly, I just wanted to say, well, I wanted to say thank you anyway, but I was really struck by how, as Jackie mentioned at the beginning, a small amount of funding given for one specific thing can actually ripple on and trigger further help. That's really struck me from your presentation, Amy. And I really want our members, I suppose, to hear that the gifts that they are giving is not just helping the perinatal mental health project that we've chosen to support, but it also means that introduction has enabled some young women to get help with housing, help with food, help with literacy. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And one last message is just something I've had come through. Thank you, Anna, from someone who was on the call but just had to go off because they've got the movers in. But he wanted to say that what he's heard so far, he's on the board of Aspire Academy Trust, and has just said that it's really inspired him to think about how he can discuss with his colleagues there when they're discussing their strategy, to think about how they can add in more active infant parent support in schooling. So that's yet another thing that's triggered through this. So thank you.
That's fabulous.
This is great. And one other thing, just picking up in the chat from Usma. Welcome, Usma. Lovely to see you. Question: do you accept donations of baby products or toys?
Yes, we do. We do accept donations. We do have to be sometimes careful because we have to make sure they have a kite mark and you know, all of the safety things. But we do. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
We're always looking for things for art. We're trying to long term do the goodie bag so that every new parent gets a goodie bag. So any donations that we can get from that, then certainly we welcome. So thank you.
Amy, it's been lovely having you here with us, and thank you so much for taking time this evening to share the work. And I hope that you're going to stay connected with us going forward, and maybe some of the other things that we're going to hear this evening are going to inspire you even further.
Sure.
And we'll carry on knitting that web of connecting everybody. So yeah, thank you very much. So Jackie, back to you.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Amy. That was fantastic. So you've heard from 2 projects so far. We've got 2 more to go. More inspiring stories. Next, we've got Liz, who's a music therapist for Cornwall Music Trust. And the project that we've been involved in is focusing on sound and song to support women in the perinatal period. Again, similar theme to help them connect to each other and obviously also enjoy their babies. So over to Liz.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, no, brilliant. I've also got a little presentation to help me structure my talk, so I'm just going to share my screen. Brilliant. Almost there. So I work for Cornwall Music Service Trust. So Cornwall Music Service Trust is quite a large organisation. It employs a lot of music teachers who go in and out of schools doing music teaching. Within Cornwall Music Service Trust, there's a small music therapy team. So there's, I think, about 10 of us. We do cover the whole county. A lot of us are part-time, sort of doing bits and pieces of other work as well. But we pick up sort of different projects and different bits of funding whenever we can get funding support and work. This is, so we're a small team within a large organisation, and it's me in particular that wanted to do this piece of work, which is new for us. I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So I was thinking really about one of the things, I had a few starting points. One of them was my own personal experience of becoming a mother and how difficult I found it to connect with other mothers. I went along to sort of new baby groups, and I was a 40-year-old mother, so kind of the opposite to Amy's parents. I felt quite different to other mothers, a bit older. I didn't know quite the term to use. I put fertility journey, but pregnancy had not come easy. There'd been a few bumps along the road. And I started to think about all the different reasons mothers might find it difficult to feel comfortable in that space and connect with the other mothers around them. Whatever reason, their journey might be different to other people's because of their age, their relationship status, if they've experienced a bereavement of some kind. I put fertility journey, birth experience, their own health or their baby's health. I recently did some work on the neonatal unilateralism, and it really struck me there how different the experience is for mothers who have a baby born premature and spend those first early weeks or months in hospital, or babies who are born with quite complex health issues who spend an awful lot of the first year or two of their life in and out of hospital, how difficult it can be to make those peer connections that you need as a mother with other women. So there's lots of reasons I think it can be difficult. I did some CPD in therapeutic songwriting. So almost all of my clinical work is with small children. So I do a lot of small groups with 2 and 3 year olds. And the CPD I did in therapeutic songwriting sort of didn't sort of sit that easily with my current clinical work. So I started thinking I'd love to use these sort of songwriting ideas, sort of doing live songwriting with a group, but I couldn't really do it with 2 and 3 year olds. So I started to think, what can I do with this? And I thought new mothers might be a great group to sort of try using my new skills. I attended the Thriving Together launch event last year as well. I was quite inspired by how many different services and organisations across Cornwall are supporting families in those early years. Did a bit of research, so I started reading about other projects that are happening around the UK. So this one was based in Scotland. It was called Baby Sounds. And it sounded amazing. Goodness knows how they got the amount of funding they did for this, but they went to people's houses. So when people were really struggling to get out with their babies, the music therapist went to their house and did music with them and their baby and helped them connect and play and attune. So my plan for this funding, I haven't done the work yet, so it's going to happen in January and February. So I'm planning to work in 2 locations, doing 2 short pieces of group work. I'm going to do one in Camborne and one in Penzance, assuming they work. But I'm a bit like the first project, Penley Family Support. I want to be flexible because I want to make sure that funding is used. So if I start trying to run one in Camborne, for example, and I find no one wants to attend, I'm not going to push that through. We're going to change the plan and find somewhere where people do want to attend. It's by asking people what they want. So I've sort of set up dates. I've intentionally structured one set of groups to start before the other. So sort of my Wednesday group's going to start earlier in January. I thought if I start one group first and get that running, then I can start learning from what people want and what they engage with, what feels helpful, and then use that to inform my thinking when I start the second group. I've structured it as, so the 1.5-hour sessions, and I've structured it fortnightly. I thought I didn't really want to space it out more than that, because I think if people are trying to sort of build relationships within a group, I think fortnightly might be quite good. I think if we did 4 weeks in a row, that might feel a bit too intense. So I thought I'd go for fortnightly and see if that suits people. That I quite liked what Amy was saying about the workshops, sort of maybe having a longer, I mean, if it doesn't work with the fortnightly group, maybe a longer workshop happening twice might suit people better. So I'll be flexible about what seems to work. And then this is what I want to do with the group. So my idea for the first session was to ask people, because I don't want to put people off by feeling they need to play music, because I think sometimes when you say a music therapy group, people can go, oh, I'm not musical. But if I just ask people to choose a song they like, anything, any genre, any style of music, that they can say, this is something I've chosen and I'd like to share with the group. And we create some kind of artwork or creative activity around the song. Have a look at the lyrics maybe for the song. If that person's comfortable, maybe they could talk about why they've chosen that song and what it is about that song that's important for them, and start to get to know each other that way. And then I thought I'd get the group to choose a theme for the next session. So it could be around babies or mothering, or it could be around anything else that the group seemed to connect about. So again, the next week I'd ask them to bring another song, do some more song sharing and lyric explorations. And I thought maybe at that point we might do some really sort of gentle movement into playing our own music, maybe making some playful sounds with kazoo, because that can make a baby laugh, or keeping a pulse as a group, something that would, that you don't need any musical skills for, that hopefully wouldn't make people worry. So again, session 3, to share songs again, add to our artwork. So I'm hoping this artwork we do would build up week by week. And maybe explore at that point some music tech. So if we're going to create a song in the final session, we'll need to use some technology to record the sounds that we're making. So we could look at maybe different ways of making sound using music technology apps. And then for the final part of the project, another musician would join me, and we'll do some live songwriting with the group. And hopefully at the end of that session, they'll have created a song and feel like a group. So if it works, it will be lovely. And I hope it will. So I'm going to look for feedback as we go through. It's going to be a client-led group. So I think all my work's client-led. So I'm looking out for feedback as I plan it and as I run it. So I think we'll do that talking in the group. I'll set up another channel of communication as well, maybe online communication, so people can let me know if the things we're doing in the group are helpful or not. Intentionally learning from the first group, which will start first, so we can feed that information into the second. And we're going to do pre and post engagement questionnaires, which I'll do at the session. So I don't want people to have to take anything away with them. So we'll just do those in the session. So that is my plan, and it's going to happen after Christmas this year. So it's just any questions.
Thank you, really. That was great to hear. And it sounds like it's going to be really exciting. And I suppose for me, what I'm hoping is that the people who are here this evening will all be offering help and advice in terms of how to get something that's new and that's maybe different off the ground. So I'm looking at Kim and Terry, because I'm sure that you'll have loads of advice that you might wish to share with Liz in terms of ways of starting, and Claire and Amy. So, but we as a trust want to just help you to get going, really. If there's any barriers that you're experiencing at the moment that we can help with, then please do shout out and let us know. And if we can help, we will. Amy's got her hand up. I'm going to try and get the chat back up. But Amy.
Hi Liz, thank you. I love the sound of your project. I think it sounds great. I got kicked off of Zoom, so apologies if you did say this, because I've had to come back in. But how are you finding mums to work with? How are you finding your referees?
The pathways I'm going to use are through Thriving Together. So okay. I think Thriving Together tend to get contacted when people are having some sort of mental health difficulties in that period. But I think they may have some ways of contacting people who maybe don't have really intense mental health difficulties, but could just do with a little bit of extra help. I'm
I'm
also
just
going to go to
wondering
health.
whether we could support with referrals, because we work quite closely with Thriving Together also. So they obviously work on the infant parent or antenatal infant relationship.
That'd be amazing. I think you
So
could help with
I
that.
would love to chat further kind of outside of this, if that would be okay.
Yes, please. Put your
This is-
email address in the chat.
This is
I
starting
will
to
message.
feel. This is starting
Yeah,
to
I
feel a
will.
little like speed dating, isn't it? Yeah.
That would
But
be amazing. That would be
the more we can connect you all, the better, really. So, Liz, I'm sure that we can make sure that you're connected with Amy, following on from
Thank you.
this, and maybe put some contact details into the chat. Are you all able to see the chat? I'm just checking that you've all got access to the chat. Yeah, I'm seeing nods, so that's good. Okay. So I'm finding this fascinating, being quite musically inclined, and I do think that it's something that I'd be really keen to see how you go on with this going forward,
Yeah.
because it does feel
Or maybe
quite
I'll get back once it's sort of happened.
Sorry?
I can feedback to you again once it's happened.
That would be
That's pretty
great. I hope that I hope that you will stay in touch with us to see what happens when you get it off the ground. Any other questions for Liz?
Isabel, Kim's got her.
Kim, Terry.
Oh, sorry, Terry.
Yeah, just yeah, thank you so much, Liz. We were just going to say the same as Amy, really. Obviously, we've got lots and lots of parents that come to our groups, and what I thought was really lovely about your presentation is very often we in life, we can get very busy with just survival and just managing the practicalities and just getting through life, really, and parents who are struggling and are in places where they have got housing difficulties, financial difficulties, relationship difficulties. And I think what your project brings is something beautiful. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that those higher needs that all human beings need. So I just wanted to say that to you, because I think that was really beautiful in what you're offering, and we want all of our women to be able to meet their higher needs as well as their practical and basic needs. So I just wanted to thank you, and we would love to work with you.
Thank you. I'd really appreciate your support as well. Thank you.
Kim, did you have your hand up? Or no, it wasn't. It was Terry. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, Claire, you're waving at me.
Sorry, you might have gathered I'm a bit of a chatterbox. Can I just say as well, Liz, what an amazing presentation. First of all, just a quick one. This is with my mum's hat on and my personal experience. I had my daughter 7 years ago, and we were neonatal with her. She was born with a really rare chromosome condition, and we had an amazing woman come and sing to us when I was in neonatal. And on day 3, when all your hormones just come in, she just came in with her guitar and sang to me, and I just released all my tears. And it's made me really feel very emotional as soon as you started talking. And I just thought it was so impactful on my entire life. And I am so grateful to the woman who came into us. I do not know how to contact her, and I don't know her name. All I know is that she was a South African lady.
Yeah, her name's Wendy. Wendy's amazing. She trained as a midwife before she trained as a music therapist.
Is it? Okay. I'm going to try and find her because I want to send her a message to tell her.
I can find you a contact for Wendy.
Oh, that would be amazing. I knew that I would somehow get in touch with her again. But I want to say that it just had such a huge impact on me personally, but also on my whole family. My dad came in, and he was there at one point when she came in, my husband and I, and obviously my daughter, who absolutely loves music to this day. So thank you on behalf of all the mums who've experienced it. It's just amazing.
Liz, let us know if there's anything else that we can do to help you and to make sure that this launches really well and it's successful. In the chat, I've already got people's email addresses, so so please do take advantage of connecting with people and I think this community is going to thrive and grow together. So if there's anything else that we can do to help you, then I'm sure we'll be delighted to do that. So thank you so much, and great presentation again. And it's exciting that you're telling us things that are going to happen rather than things that you've already done. So we're fully behind you, so thank you. Jackie, over to you.
Okay, so wow, we love doing these evenings, and it's great to do it online, because we had to cancel one last year because amazingly it snowed in Cornwall, which is very rare. But it just is so inspiring, and I think somebody just used the word emotional. It's actually really amazing to hear what everyone's up to. So we're going to let Claire talk about her own project now, which is great. So she's the founding director of Badger Forest School, as she said, which is also known as Choose Nature CIC. So Claire, over to you.
Well, now I wish I'd gone first, because I wouldn't be all emotion. I wish I'd got it done and dusted at the beginning. So it kind of leads quite nicely on from what I've just said. Yeah, it's a real honour to be with you all this evening. So thank you. I don't sadly have a beautiful presentation, so I'm just going to try not to ramble too much at you. But so I set up Badger Forest School about 11 years ago, and I'm a primary school teacher background, and basically I did my forest school training and realised I knew the importance of the outdoors and what the huge positive impact it has on our lives, for our mental health, for children and young children. And I've always worked in primary schools and was able to do a lot within the education system, and take children out into nature and, build dens and make campfires and toast marshmallows and do all the fun stuff. And I always had this dream of sort of setting up a forest school, and finally I did do that and launched it 11 years ago. We've got a base over at Cardinham Woods, and I've got a learning partnership with Forestry England, and I've had that for about 7 years. And then over lockdown, I set up a CIC. So that was the confusion with the name. It's Choose Nature Community Interest Company. That's the registered company name, but we trade under Badger Forest School. And as I mentioned, I've got a 7-year-old daughter who's got lots of additional needs. And when she was born, and in those very early days in neonatal, I was very aware in those early hours in the middle of the night that I just wanted to be under a tree at some point soon with my young baby, and just connecting with other mums, and just being able to connect with nature. And I know how powerful it is. I'm getting quite emotional talking about it. It's very personal to me, obviously. So as soon as I could, I was always doing parent and toddler groups, and working with schools, like I say, but it really occurred to me that there was this big gap, and I wasn't really connecting with the women and the mums, the parents. We do have dads come as well, but it's specifically some of those groups were very much aimed at the women and the mothers. So during lockdown, obviously when everything went a bit pear-shaped, I was very, very aware that gap was just widening, and people who were going through pregnancy and having their babies were just so much more isolated. So that was my thing over lockdown, and I just kept asking Forestry England, like, as soon as we can start, I just need to get these women. I want the support groups to start happening. So we set up a support group called Mamas in Nature, and we were running those from Cardinham Woods, and we had, really good levels of participation. This was before the CIC was set up, so we didn't actually have funding, but people were paying for this. It was sort of £7 or £8 a session. Since we've become a CIC, I've put more and applied more for funding to continue those groups, because the funding had run out. We did get some funding, and then the funding, like it always does, runs out. So the funding that we've got from the Women's Fund is going to relaunch our Mamas in Nature sessions. I've also got another site over in St Austell, right next door to the Will Martin Clay Museum. So we've got 2 sites. So our plan is, and we haven't started our project either, and mainly because we've had quite a lot of site works going on to try and make the sites a bit more accessible for people with disabilities, but also for pregnant mums and young children, so a bit more accessible, putting pathways in which are wheelchair friendly and things like that. So we're hoping to start, I think we're going to start in February, and a bit like you, Liz, we're going to sort of run workshop days, but they're going to be slightly longer days, sort of 3 to 4 hours, I think, on the 2 different sites. So it'll be 2 sessions in Bodmin at Cardinham Woods and 2 sessions at our St Austell site. And they're going to be very much focused on, and again, this is feedback from our existing women and just from questionnaires in the past. So there'll be a bit of a mixture on, so the first workshop is going to be before they have their babies, and it will be open to, we want to really support those vulnerable women who are struggling with their mental health, and it will be a little bit of movement. So I'm working with a baby yoga practitioner and another one of my colleagues who's a doula. So we're going to have a bit of a combination of sort of basically having a bit of a fire, walking in the woods, doing some gentle movement, getting into our bodies, a little bit of mindfulness, nature crafting. So really supporting the women, but having those very open conversations as well about expectations and how we're feeling, and checking in with our mental health as well. So that will kind of be the first workshop. And then the second workshop will be a few months later down the line, where we will invite mums back with their babies, and obviously if they wanted to bring a significant other as well. And again, celebrating around a campfire, having like a nice soup or some pancakes or something around the fire. So we'll make it really, we want to make it very nourishing and very sort of supportive, but really connecting those women with nature and obviously then their young babies. And we've also got some funding from Forestry England, which is hopefully then going to run after this project, where we can then signpost these women to continue working with us for the first year of the baby's life. Sorry, I waffled quite a bit.
There was absolutely no waffle in that at all, Claire. It was incredibly clear. And again, the passion shines through. So I know you've got a bit emotional, but that's perfectly okay. Really, really lovely to hear. And I think there's a bit of a recurring theme running through so far this evening in terms of projects that have been thought through but not yet off the ground. And so what I'm hoping is that all of you will connect with each other, but also find ways to stay connected with us, so that you can let us know how things are going as we get further down the line. I'm sure Amanda will say more in terms of how we start to really build this community, linking through the Cornwall Women's Fund to do as much good as we possibly can with the money that members are actually putting in, because we want to make sure that we're using the money to the best effect possible. But Claire, it's really lovely to hear about the work that you're planning and what you've already done, of course, as well. And I hope that, again, people are on the call tonight are already starting to think, oh, I think we could make a good connection there. We could offer something. And I've already got images of Liz's ideas, music, translating into the forest.
Yeah.
So, how do you
that would be amazing.
How do you bring the music into the outdoors?
Very easily, just percussion.
Yeah.
Nothing that plugs in.
Yeah.
I'd love that. I would really love that. Love to have connection. Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be ways to build on the connections that we're hearing about this evening, which is fabulous. So I'm not seeing questions for Claire. So clearly, Claire, you've done a really, really good job at being so clear that there's nothing that people need to ask you. But I know that everybody will be wishing you all the best with the work once you get going at both sites.
Thank you.
And as I'm in the east of the county, I might even drop down to Bodmin and sort of see how it's going.
Please do. We would love to have you. We have got a really beautiful candlelight walk happening at Cardinal Woods, which we do every year. So just
Right.
if anybody is interested to come to that, it's on the 14th of December, and it's all for our, it's all to raise money for these kind of sessions. And it's beautiful. We have like a lovely little candlelight walk around the woods. So you're all welcome.
Sounds lovely. Sounds lovely. Oh, well, listen, thank you so much. Amanda, are you waving at me?
I was I'm raising my hand to make an observation, not a question, but if you want me to lead that into what I'm going to say next.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I mean, it's amazing. Jackie said earlier about how we spoke before this evening about how much we love doing this, because it not only reinforces for us why we're doing what we're doing, but the breadth of creativity and seeing people linking with each other and understanding how this isn't just about, I mean, it is absolutely about funding, because you can't do what you do without some funding. So that's what we want to do, is to raise funds to help you deliver the work that you're doing. But it's also about creating connections, creating a community. It's about people learning from each other and inspiring each other. So it's just wonderful to be able to see that happening in real time, I guess. Something that's really struck me from all the projects is how they're based on feedback from women, and how they're absolutely, and this is one of the things that's really important to us at Cornwall Women's Fund, is that we're funding projects that are responding to local need, whereas small amount of money can make a massive difference. And it's not just the immediate thing it's funding, it's, I think we heard from Amy earlier on, it's how that ripple effect carries on. So the fact that all the projects are responding to what's happening locally and what women are saying they want and need is just fabulous. Thank you. I was going to come in next to just say a little bit about next year. And I was going to begin by talking about, and I think it would be a really interesting opportunity actually to hear some feedback from some of you guys that are going to be doing some of the work at the beginning of next year. We have an event every year on International Women's Day, or to celebrate International Women's Day. And in 2025, we'll be having it actually on the day, because it's a Saturday, and that's the 8th of March. The theme for next year is accelerating ambition. And what we're aiming to do, we're hoping to have it at a venue in Truro. I haven't had confirmation yet, so I don't share it in case we all end up in the wrong place. So I'll wait for confirmation before I share the venue, but we're hoping Truro is quite a central place for people to come to, and we're hoping to get somewhere with some good parking. The format that we've had in the past, we will do again, which is a panel of speakers coming from different perspectives, talking about the ambitions that they've had and how they've been able to turn those into a reality. And actually the panel of speakers that we've begun to draw together all has quite a creativity theme, so it really chimes with what we've been speaking about this evening, and there's a lot of creativity out there already. So if you can put that date in your diary and you want to come along, it's a free event, we'd love to see you. And it would be great. I think what we've tried to do in the past is also have maybe some stands and stalls from people who've had some funding to talk about the work. So it would be great to hear some feedback at that from you guys. I also wanted to let people know that we will be continuing with funds next year to fund women's mental health, because we don't want to chop and change every year. It's a great need in the county, and we'd like to continue with that theme. And finally, before I introduce our next speaker, I just wanted to talk about the fact that next year we were really lucky when we came up with this idea and started the fund, that we were looked after and supported by Cornwall Community Foundation. They gave us so much support at the time, and they have continued over the last 5 years to host us and to support us with our grant application process. And they've been an amazing support and continue to be so. But we've reached a point in our growth, I suppose, as a fund, that we now want to sort of branch out a bit on our own and develop our membership and be able to fly high and grow, really. So we are registering as a charity in our own right. we will be launching that formally at International Women's Day next year. The reason I'm trailing it a little bit here is for our members particularly to know that you'll get a communication in the early part of the year when we've set up a bank account independently, just to say that we'd like people to move their direct debit or their donation vehicle, whatever they're using, to a new bank account. So when you get that, I don't want it to be a surprise for you. I want you to know the thinking behind it. We'll continue to work closely with the foundation, but we will set up with our own group of trustees. And one of the things we may seek to do is to use a bit of a model that we've seen work really well up country in Bath, where the membership choose the projects that are supported. So we have done that to an extent so far because our members have chosen the themes that we've supported. So we supported poverty, looking at helping women into employment first, and now we're focusing on perinatal mental health. And then the next area that we'll be focusing on, our members chose, was to look at, which will be in 2026, was to look at emotional support around domestic abuse. But members have only been able to choose the theme, and then we have sat as a panel and chosen the individual projects. But we're going to start thinking about how, as we grow the membership, we can enable members to vote on the projects that we will support, and that will probably involve some presentations and things. But so those are some of the things that are happening in the next few months. Now I would absolutely delighted to ask Kate Nichols to talk to us about the app that she has developed, which follows on beautifully from Claire and Nature, because it's called Wild, and it's all about encouraging people to support their mental health by getting out into nature. So I'll hand over to you, Kate.
Perfect, thank you. I just share my screen. Cool, can you see that okay? Oh.
Perfect.
You, you just appeared. Yeah, you're good. Okay, cool. Let's make sure. Yeah, we're all good. Cool. Hi. It's great to be here. I don't know if I've been to an event like this before. All women doing amazing things. It's like you said, it is emotional. It really makes you like feel great. And yeah, just really cool to live here and know all these things are going on. And I'm sure it just shows us like so many more good stuff you just don't know about. So yeah, I was inspired by everyone's talk, so thank you. Yeah, here's mine. It's kind of my story of this app called Wilder. So yeah, I think we've got about 15 minutes down, so I'll run through, see how we go. And I'm aware I'm towards the end of the evening, so it's feeling a bit much. I'll skip through, but we'll see how we go. So yeah, hi everyone, I'm Kate. I'm the founder of this app called Wilder. So the app basically makes connecting to nature easy for people to improve their mental health. So I want to kick off by trying to acknowledge the elephant in the room. So for some of you, the idea of an app, the very thing which is disconnecting us from nature, being a solution to reconnect us to nature, may be instantly ringing some alarm bells. And I don't blame you. I'll be feeling the same. But before you make up your mind, I'm just gonna, share my story with you, which kind of inspired me, non-technical. I'd even go so far as to say phone hater, to turn tech into a tool for nature connection. So bear with me and see what you think. So my background is as a primary school teacher as well. I loved teaching. I loved anything where I was having an impact. My favourite thing was taking the whole school, so that was over 600 kids and staff, outside to do classroom band days. So imagine 600 kids or whatever, barefoot walking, building dens, making fires. That was the kind of thing, that was my happy place amongst all the other stresses and strains of teaching. That was my favourite thing. In 2018, however, I had a really bad mountain bike accident. So this was the moment my life changed. So I went off that drop and ended up flipping over the handlebars and landed on my head. So that caused something called post-concussion syndrome, which you may or may not have heard of. I hadn't. That caused all sorts of symptoms, from chronic fatigue to extreme noise and light sensitivity. It was like all my filters that normally sort of choose what comes in and out had been turned off, and everything was coming in, and all the volume, light, noise, sound, information, everything was just coming in all in one. Which, it was often unbearable, as you can imagine, and every part of daily life was affected. One of the hardest parts was, as I'm sure many of you know with these things, it's invisible, which makes it particularly difficult whenever people can't see that, especially over a long period of time. Unfortunately, this time, just to build the picture, I also lived opposite this. So I lived in Plymouth in a block of flats, and that was my view. And yeah, I was often too unwell. I just couldn't get outside. I was too unwell to escape and go outside. But a bit like, was it Claire? Yeah, you said, I just remember I had massive brain fog, but I remember so clearly. I've got a little sound effect here for extra effect. I've listened to this all the time, noise cancel headphones and a lot, but I just wanted that. As I'm sure we all would, brain injury or not, but that's a really strong memory for me. So anyway, the one time, not again. The one time I did get outside was when I went to hospital appointments. So next to it, there's this wood. Some of you, you know the area, might know it, called Plimbridge. And I'd actually been there loads over the years as a teacher. There's like an old railway line that I'd used to cycle up and down. But yeah, looking back now, I can see that I never actually was seeing it. I was just passing through it. So like watching the TV rather than actually being inside it. So anyway, recovery was extremely difficult, but it kind of gave me a gift, which a lot of us would enjoy, which is being made to stop, which is something we so rarely do. And when I visited those woods with that new slow way of being at that time, it changed my life, that new perspective from what I saw in those woods. So it wasn't anything particularly special on paper. So it's a new leaf, a bird, new seeds on trees, just the standard stuff. But by slowing down and actually like consciously and choosing to engage with it, so maybe noticing the white hairs on a new beech leaf or just the flash of a blue jay passing through the trees, that instantly stopped my spinning mind and brought me back into the present moment, like so many of us know, and like so many of us, regardless of a illness, injury, even in lockdown, those small moments, so many of us realised are so good for us. My connection to nature, I thought it was connected before, but I instantly realised I wasn't. It quickly grew. And when I eventually moved house, I was building a hedgehog home with some scrap in the garden before I'd even unpacked. So yeah, it taught me a lot. My experience, that was over kind of a number of years, but those three key things I took away. So one, that consciously engaging with nature increases connection, but the key thing was that just being in it is great, but actually the magic is so much more when you actually consciously engage with it, which I think's something that the latest research is kind of showing. Get outside, but actually stop and look, and wow, what a difference. Number two was connecting to nature leads to that desire to protect very quickly because you actually see it, so you care. And that nature transforms, and so do we. When we slow down enough to see it. But the big question was how. So as I recovered, my teaching brain, I got thinking, as I always did, what's that missing bit that's going to make the difference and help people connect to nature? So yeah, that was a big question. The problem being there's so many demands on our attention. But actually in the end, I figured the answer was actually really little. The answer was just simply a prompt that was somewhere where people would notice it. So yeah, controversial is where the phone came in. So I think it's 87% of people have a phone. It's a smartphone in the UK, and we spend over 3.5 hours a day on average on them, probably more. So the thinking was, what better way to prompt someone to actually put it down than speak to them on the very thing they're staring at in the first place? So that's where that came about. Initially, I trialed it on Facebook, so I was still kind of ill 2020 lockdown. So I did different challenges on Facebook, which was great timing to help other people during those lockdowns to get outside. So this challenge, for example, go and notice a tree canopy, just really simple stuff that gets you out the door and then gives you a focus. So yeah, I did that on Facebook, built a community, and then with that community of a few thousand people, we all very much work together to create the thing which was going to help people beat that missing link. We were lucky enough to get some funding from Falmouth University to build it, and we launched last September. So yeah, that's the backstory. And yeah, how does it actually work? It's maybe the next thing you're thinking. So we basically use challenges, these prompts, which give our community these simple ways to get out and engage with nature. So let me flip forward. So this was these the challenges. The key thing was that that's all very well, but they need to be designed correctly to help people actually overcome what their barriers were. So that's kind of where the community came in the research. So yeah, we asked them what stops you from getting outside. It wouldn't surprise you that the research told us that most people do want to get outside more, but there's certain things that stop them. So maybe in your head, you're thinking, what stops you? I know what stops me. So these are the 5 things that the community came back with, and maybe some of them are ones that you thought of. So yeah, time. We're all so busy. Motivation is so easy when you're busy and don't feel the best, maybe to put on Netflix instead of go out. And of course, the weather for a good chunk of the year doesn't help. Mind being too busy to even think to go out. But even when out, maybe just having mind preoccupation, so you're not really taking it in. Or just great to be talking to someone, but maybe the space as well, just to have that peace. And yeah, know what to do with, as I'm sure you all know, so disconnected actually. What are the simple ways to how do you actually connect? I want to, but what's the thing? That's not it. So yeah, this is how it works. So we've got on the app, there's these 2 types of challenges. So we've got the daily challenge here. So that's something really simple, anyone can do anywhere. So the cool thing is that everyone in Cornwall and across the UK are doing the same thing. So every day it changes, but we've just got the tree canopy example again. Someone could do that on a lunch break in a couple of minutes in a car park, or someone could go on a trek up a mountain and do the same thing. So there's that nice sense of connection that, like I say, changes each day. And then we've got these challenge packs, which are collections of challenge cards, basically. They're for those who want more. So there's challenges, things like how to learn how to breathe mindfully in nature, everything through to what else we've got, sound mapping and all sorts. And we've also got some sort of site specific stuff too, which has helped us to fund what we're doing to this stage. So we're working with people like the National Trust. That's one of the challenges we've got in Exeter, and that's based on the 5 pathways to nature connection model, which some of you might be familiar with. So I thought I'd give a very quick demo, get to the crux of it, how it works. So when people go on there, they choose their challenge. So let's just say they've chosen a daily challenge. So in this case, it's find climbers or twiners. So really easy. You can take it as much as you want. If that's enough, we actually want people off their phones. Press go, get outside, put your phone away and enjoy it. But often is the case, we need that little bit more to give us that confidence to do it, which is fine. Or maybe want to learn more. So on the back, there's more information there to inspire that confidence and maybe just give those extra couple of things to focus in on. So in this case, the different way climbers or twiners might climb, are they clockwise, are they anti-clockwise? Just stuff to get you thinking and not about your everyday stresses and looking at something else. So when ready, well, that went a bit quicker than expected. The other thing is there's a community feed underneath. So again, if you're thinking it's rainy, what's going on today, have a look at that, and there might be something there locally that you're thinking, oh, actually it might be worth going out, or maybe you live somewhere urban and it'll surprise you that there's actually some cool stuff on your doorstep. So there's options to basically inspire you. Take as many as you want, and then when you're ready, you press go and get outside, hopefully. I'm not controlling this video. Usually it's timed all right. Come on, there we go. Right, that was my outside time, but you can be as long as you want actually doing it. In this case, I'm taking a photo of Ivy, and then yeah, you could just post that. But if you want to, you can add a description. So that could just be maybe something you want to share with the community. Maybe you're an Ivy whiz and you've got a cool fact to share, or you just want to use it as a journal and keep it private and just a little note so you remember how you felt that day. So in this case, doorstep nature, choose your settings. It's all very much choice what you want to share. But in this case, I've shared it to the feed, and then that'll appear underneath. So someone else, that kind of cycle of good, that rather than your traditional social media, it's actually being used for good. So yeah, hopefully that gives you an insight to it. Oh no, not again. Not, how does it work? Does it work? Yes, that is a different question. So the answer is yes, it's early days, but it definitely has worked. So we launched, like I said, just over a year ago. We've had over 3,000 people download the app. But the cool thing is my favorite fact. So there's over 22,000 photos of people's mindful moments in nature have been shared in that time. So that's pretty cool to think there's 22,400 times or whatever someone's had a prompt and got out the door and done it, which is not an easy thing to do. So that's really cool. And that's really rewarding. I've just got a couple of close-ups here make it a little bit easier to sort of take it in. But yeah, seeing these and just thinking that's exactly what I was. I just had that little nudge, and without a mountain bike accident, that I can be giving these people a little nudge, and these moments can be happening is really cool. And the fact tech's doing that, that's that middleman, then brilliant. And yeah, even Hedgehog hotels have been being built too, which is which is particularly nice. So yeah, like I said, we've had over like 3,000 downloads, but the core group is women, which is really cool. To be talking to you guys sort of 25 to 60 years old. So I've just got maybe about 5, can't quite remember, little snippets of people giving their insights. So I'll let you listen to them.
Wilder has helped me by giving me a purpose for getting out and about on those days when I know it would be good for me, but I just can't drag myself out the house. I can look at the Wilder app and find something to go and look for.
And really makes you think about nature and about everything that's in nature around you, instead of negative thoughts that you usually have if you're just thinking about what's on your mind.
I've just really fallen out of love with traditional social media. I find it a very stressful place to be, and I discovered Wilder just over a year ago, and I've been really enjoying it. It's such a much more personal experience because you're encouraged to take the photo of what you see out and about and post it, but you're posting it just for you. You're not posting it for other people's approval.
I've been having quite a difficult time of it, but the last 250 days that I've been part of the Wilder community, I've been getting out into nature every single day with a purpose, and that purpose has really helped me to stay sane, but also to have given me this deep sense of peace and a sense of connection with nature, but also with the community as well.
The Wilder app is a wonderful thing to wake up to every morning. 8 o'clock, the little notification comes on, and there's yet another thing to look at, another part of nature to engage with. And what I really enjoy is the fact that it's very topical. So if it's raining, it's almost celebrating that.
I've actually got a long-term health condition that caused a lot of fatigue. So Wilder has been fantastic for just giving me a little bit of an extra push to get outside and enjoy nature. And it's made me slow down a bit and just take more notice about what's around me. So I've noticed a lot of new things that I wouldn't have noticed before. And I think then on days that I've got less energy and less time, it's really lovely to scroll through the photos that everybody else has uploaded. It's given me a lot of inspiration, and I think it's a far more positive way of using my phone than just scrolling through social media. That makes me feel like I'm connected to the outdoors even when I don't have the energy to get outdoors. And then obviously when I do go outside, I've got some new things to keep an eye out for. So it's been a really positive experience for me.
Wilder has helped me.
Last bit, sorry, dodgy clicking. Yeah, it's really nice to watch them back. I've not seen them for a while. It just being the other side of an app. I think, like you guys said earlier, it's nice for it to be real and actually see the impact. So yeah, for last bit, I thought a nice way to end the story so far would be to give you a sneak peek of where we're going. And yeah, after that, I'd welcome just any feedback or questions. Be much appreciated. So yeah, sneak peek is we're currently looking to develop version 2 of the app. So there's 3 core areas that we're focusing on. The first one being connect to protect, the idea that being that as people connect to nature, that time will result in real life action being taken to protect nature. So a really nice circle of this connect protect model, motivating people on a rainy day when they're on however many seeds they've collected to go out and get that next one, so they plant the tree or wherever it is. We decide in the end. The second one is nature alert. This is very topical with all the recent Northern Lights excitement. It's expanding that out to every other nature event which happens, which can be almost just as exciting and actually happening all the time, and we can build excitement around that too. So let people know what to look for and where and when on their doorstep. Make it easy for people. It's very much our core concept. And the final one is simply on that community feed. At the moment, it's one long feed, so adding in the options people to have groups. That could be a workplace group filter. So yeah, we spoke to various people like the NHS, and it's helping to change that culture that it's okay to take a break. So seeing that your colleagues have gone out and done that could be really powerful. So I've just looked at the time and I've gone over, so I do apologise. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for listening. that's the story of Wilder so far. And yeah, if you've got any feedback or questions, I'd love to hear them, but I've gone over already. So thank you.
Okay. Don't worry about going over because we have some extra time anyway because of poor Jane getting, so please don't apologise.
Perfect. No
We
worries.
do. Yeah, indeed. And Kate, if you're taking your presentation down, we can now see each other again. That was amazing. Thank you. How exciting. Absolutely brilliant. And I've already got people in the chat. Liz has already now got the app. So I think and Sarah saying it looks great. So I think you've got a lot of converts here and a lot of support. And what a fascinating thing. And isn't it incredible how as women we're able to kind of come up with ideas and be creative at moments when in our lives we're facing some really difficult stuff. There's almost like that trigger, isn't there, that says, you know, life's pretty awful at the moment, and then something comes along and takes you into a different path.
Yeah, you got to.
You know, and certainly from your story, that's what happened, wasn't it? You know, so you weren't expecting to have the awful accident that you had.
No.
But what's come as a consequence of that has been something really beautiful.
Yeah, you have to turn it into something good. I think as we all know, or that's it. So
absolutely.
It's a powerful thing if you can use it. I'm sure many people's stories are inspired by something, you know, similar experiences. Not a bike crash.
Well, I do have to just share something that I was trying not to giggle when I was seeing the pictures of the ivy, because I've spent about 5 hours staring at a wall in my driveway, which has been completely taken over by ivy. And people have been saying to me, that wall's got to come down. That wall's got to come down, you know, because it's completely taken over the wall. But the ivy is absolutely beautiful. So I'm in a bit of a quandary really about whether I'm going to lose my ivy or lose my wall or both.
They say it's not, the latest is, like, I'm sure you've Googled it, that it's not bad, but it does seem a little concerning. I get when it's on your wall. So but well done for holding out this long.
Yes, I'm trying to find something positive from gazing at the wall and the ivy. So that's good. Would anybody want to ask Kate anything from what you've just heard? Amanda.
So it's not really a question, but I just wanted to share one of the things I really loved, Kate. Well, one of the quotes coming from someone there was that there was no pressure to share. You could just put it up for yourself. But if you choose to share, you can. And it really struck me, that element of not just benefiting from it yourself, but by sharing the photo or whatever, then you're part of that community and it's sort of inspiring others. I just thought that was a really thoughtful element to it. You clearly put so much thought into the design. It's, you know, it's hits on so many levels.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's one of kind of the community's favorite thing is that, and you can if you see one of those photos, you can send like an anonymous gratitude seed to say thank you for doing that. It's flipping the traditional social media model. I think we've got to do it. There'll be other people following suit, but yeah, we've got to flip it. No more likes and loves.
Thank you. Usma, I think you were waving at me. Did you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. Just wanted to echo what Isabel said and the others have, you know, just so inspired by your journey and how you turned, you know, what could have really, you know, destroyed someone else into something that's inspiring so many people. Hearing those case studies was amazing. And the app just looks incredible. I can't wait to download it. You know, like so many others, get a lot of peace from just those small moments in nature, and would love to connect with you and share your story with in my line of work as well. So I'll pop my email in the chat.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
There we go. It's another good match. We're doing a good job tonight, Amanda and Jackie and everybody. The connections have been amazing. So thank you. I think I'm going to pass back over to Jackie. Or am I passing on to Catherine?
We're passing on to Catherine.
I think it might be me.
Well, you have your moment now, Catherine.
I have my moment. Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate to Kate, you know, thank you for coming along and sharing your story and showing us the Wilder app. I met you a few weeks ago and was quite blown away by the simplicity of the app and how, I mean, I'm naturally an outdoor person. I've got quite a lot of animals here. I'm outside every day. And even me, it gives me a prompt every day of something to look at. And I think we can all be so busy, and it does affect our mental health, the fact that we are so busy. And all of us, even those that are, you know, those of us here helping others, we all need to look after our mental health. But this is so simple. So many people have the app. You don't need to be, you don't have to be in the countryside to use it. And actually, even myself, it makes me be mindful where I am. It just takes that moment out. And yeah, I think it's a great little app. And hopefully, you know, everybody here can perhaps spread the word, and you know, the people that you're helping, it might help them on a different level too. So thank you, Kate, for
appreciate that,
for coming and sharing.
No problem.
I'm not sure if Jane can see or hear anything. If she is still around, it's you know, I'd like to say a huge thank you for her for briefly coming on as far as Great Western train service would allow her to speak to us. It's good to know that we've got an MP in Cornwall that's female, that understands a lot of the issues that we have down in this part of the world, and hopefully can well represent us in Westminster. Also, it's been fabulous tonight. This is my first year on the committee. It's my first impact evening, and you know what a lovely evening it is to hear from all you guys. You know, the Penley Family Project, Wild Young Parents, the Music Service, and the Forest Badger School, all doing the same but different out there. All of you at grassroots level, really helping people where it really matters. Yeah, it was one thing about this fund that I really liked, was the fact that it's grassroots. It's helping women and children who are often overlooked, just at those pivotal moments in their lives when things aren't great. It's helping set up the next generations, and just generally just being there at those difficult moments when women need support. Because I do honestly believe, as part of, you know, the fund's ethos is to inspire women, and I think most women do want to help themselves and do fight hard to help themselves and their children, and it's just so fabulous to have such amazing grassroots organisations who really know where the need is, and thank you all for you know, trying to plug those gaps, and as you know, and as long as we can help support you, you know, I think it's a fantastic thing for Cornwall, and long continue doing it, ladies. It's just fabulous. And I was asked to just sort of say a little bit as to why I did join, and it is basically I've lived and worked down here for about the last 8 years. My background is working in a very commercial, local business, and it became very apparent to me during that time, you know, the level of disadvantage down here. We do have a spine of Cornwall, I would describe it as, that you know, are deprived areas and places, and people do struggle, and particularly I've sort of seen the fact that it's, you know, harder for women. You know, we generally pick up the burden of the family, and you know, and I got introduced to this fund, and I really liked the fact that it went straight in at the grassroots level. it was finding funding to get it to people where it really, really does help and make a difference. And you guys are doing a great job. And, you know, for me, I felt like it was my opportunity to give back. And yeah, and I'd just like to say, for anyone who's new here to the fund, you know, I hope we've whetted your appetite this evening for what, you know, such small amounts of money can do to really valuably help the lives of women locally, help them to lift them up, and to help themselves and sort of hopefully move on and forward in their lives. And, you know, I just really hope that, you know, you'll all continue to support us, follow us, and hopefully give back a little yourselves. Please sign up to our newsletter. And if you can, please give. You know, as you've probably seen here today, £10-20 a month would make a huge difference, particularly when we all come together, team it together, and get this money distributed to people where it really helps. And you know, if anyone could give anything, please just do spread the word. You know, friends, family, colleagues. It doesn't have to be a lot, but yeah, just anything. As you know, we're all here tonight for the same reason, and yeah, just please pass the word. Our information is available on all social media platforms, but please sign up to the newsletter. From there, we can distribute to you what's happening next. Hopefully, we'll be able to feed back further on what, such as Claire and Liz, you know, how they've got on, and from the rest of you. I do wonder if we perhaps need to find a way so all you charities that we're helping can all interact with each other, because, you know, of 5 people that have spoken here this evening, 5 organisations that have spoken here today, you all are in overlap somewhere. Everyone can gain from the connections, and that's what we're all about, just being supportive of, well, we seem to be mainly women helping women, and long may it continue. And I'm, you know, so delighted to be part of it. So pleased to see so many of you here tonight to be part of it. And yeah, just thank you. It's been a fantastic evening, very inspirational, and yeah, please spread the word. And yeah, thank you very much for all your support.
So that brings our evening to a close. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Catherine, for sharing the reasons why you've joined too. I've just popped the website address in the chat. If anybody wants to sign up for the newsletter, please do. That way you'll get to hear about the details of events, or follow us on socials, and then you'll find out where we're actually going.